Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Atrocious. You can also call me Jake, and today we've got some commentary, but the first locals commentary. Thank you so much to Darkside Games for allowing me to film a lot of our locals matches that went on this specific day, and for the future as well. There's going to be a lot more local gameplay here on the channel. Very excited for it. And if you do want singles, you can go ahead in the link in the description below. Darkside Games does have One Piece singles that you can do. If you click the link, even if you don't buy anything, maybe you just browse, you will be supporting the channel. So I super appreciate it. Now this is going to be Red Purple Luffy versus Enel. Truthfully, I'm not 100% sure how this matchup goes. I haven't played a ton of Red Purple Luffy. I know really how Enel goes, and I know how this Red Purple Luffy build has gone because I mean I just know the local people. I know the guy decently well on the left. His name is Ruben. But going in here, it's going to be an interesting match between the two. We'll see exactly how it plays out. But now, before we get into this, as they're continuing to shuffle, feel free to give me feedback on the stream as well. I know the camera's a little bit shaky because it's just standing on the table. I don't have a specific like top-down camera. This is kind of the best angle that I can do right now, but hopefully, you know, in the future videos I can get a little bit higher quality on the videos, and maybe not so much shaking as well. Maybe we can try to find a fix for that. This was the first time that I've ever done local gameplay commentary, so we'll see exactly how it goes. I'll give you a play-by-play. I'm just realizing how much shaking there actually is, and it's really funny to me. So at our locals, we usually do 2 die high rolls, so I think that was an 8 right there. I can't tell about the yellow, but it looks like the Enel player is going to be deciding whether or not they go first or second, and so they've opted to go first. And so here we go. Red Purple Luffy just opting to mulligan right away, and the Enel player still deciding with this fresh hand here. Definitely as the Enel player, if you're going first, you probably want to see something like a Holly. Your turn 1's going to be nothing, and then your turn 2 could be something along the lines of like a Thunderbolt. It could be a Shura and swing 6 at leader. So there's a couple different options that you can do with the going first or second. I feel like Enel would prefer to go second in this matchup, just thinking out loud here, but we'll see exactly how it plays out. Both players opting to mulligan in here. We'll see how this goes. And so 5 cards each. It'll be a little bit difficult to see what their hands are in terms of the, because usually in the Japanese streams we get the camera angles, but it looks like Red Purple Luffy, we will see a little bit of his hand. He's got a Zoro Juro in there. Some big bodies of Rush Luffy and Rush Newgate, and a Frankie right there. The Enel player just draw passing, and so will the Red Purple Luffy. So going into the 3 Dawn turn now, you've got a play down of Holly. That's one of the options that I mentioned earlier before it started. There's a Gear 5 10-drop Luffy in hand. A lot of big boss monsters, which could provide to be a problem for Luffy on their second turn. So 4 Dawn turn, probably going to play like the Zoro Juro, I would imagine, right here, and going to be swinging 7 because that is a 6k body. Going to be getting a trigger Charlotte Cracker right away. Now at 3 life, I'll try to help you all keep track. I know the life is somewhat covered up by the deck box, and a Cracker is played, and then also the Zoro Juro. Now they're at even life, so unless a Thunderbolt is played right here, the Cracker is not going to be able to get extra swings and double attack effect going, but Enel's just going to start off the turn with swinging for 6 at the Purple Luffy. Now even, we'll see exactly how they're played out. So Purple Luffy thinking of what they want to do. Might have gotten a little distracted there, and it looks like they're just going to take it, really trying to prevent that double attack coming in from Enel. So going to be taking that life, and then Enel using the rest of their Fordon to play Ohm. We'll see if they have another Holly in hand. They did play one Holly raw in hand, but it ends up they found another one off of there. So I'm curious to see if they have another Holly in their hand. I'm not 100% sure. That's a big reason why I would have probably seen the Holly played down on the second turn, but it doesn't matter at this point because 2 Hollies is really enough that you can ask for. So now on the 6th Dawn turn for the Red Purple Luffy, going to probably be using Zorojuro to accelerate and ramp some Dawn, I would imagine here. They do have that Frankie in there as well. And so thinking about what they want to do, where they want to attach this, going to be attaching one to the Zoro and then ramping one Dawn. So basically at the same place that they were before, but getting an extra swing. And so now the Enel player going to 2 life, taking that hit, going to be attaching one to the Luffy, sending the Enel player to 1 life at this point, and then going to be playing Trafalgar Law. So there are 6 cards in the Enel player's hand, so no Trafalgar Law blocker effect, but leaving 1 Dawn open. We did see a Radical Beam early in the game for the Red Purple Luffy, so probably saving it for that because there are plenty of bodies on the field. There is a Charlotte Cracker right there that can swing double attack. There are also plenty of bodies. Ohm getting a 1k power boost because of its effect of Enel being at 2 or less life. The Hollies just being 5k bodies in general. Really nice. And so now in the 7 Dawn turn, and the Red Purple Luffy player having about 7 or 8 cards in hand at this point, we'll see exactly how this is going to be played out. Going to be starting off resting 2 Dawn and playing a 200 million volts Maru, boosting up the Charlotte Cracker, 3 Dawn and +1 on top of it. Going to be swinging for that double attack straight into life. Going to be using a Rad Beam to get to 10. The Cracker swinging for 9. Perfect use of that Rad Beam to save 2 life right there. So with 4 Dawn left, going to be either placing characters down or distributing it and starting off with a 5k swing at the Law. Don't want that thing to restand and be a problem next turn, especially if you don't have another 200 million volts Maru. So now after that kind of free swing, going to be swinging 6 at either, I assume it's going to be Leader, it could also be Zorojuro. So only need a 1k counter out of this if you decide to counter. If it's Luffy, if it's at Zorojuro, you're going to need a little bit more. So we'll see what Red Purple Luffy decides to do in this one. Looking like going to be using the Frankie there to counter out of that. That Fraud Nosuke, a 2k counter, just in case anybody was wondering. And so the Enel player now going to have to be deciding a couple things in there. Going to be attaching 1 Dawn, swinging 6 at Leader, and another I keep forgetting how to say that name. Basically Frankie 2k counter going to be getting out of that, and then the Enel swinging 8 at Leader and going to be taking that hit. 1 life left, 1 life each now going into the Red Purple Luffy's turn. Going to assume use Leader effect to get to 10 Dawn in here, because I believe they're at 9 at this point after the Zorojuro ramp. So going to be thinking about what they want to do. I think they have another Law blocker that they could put down, but the Law blocker is always a 200 million volts Maru. We have seen that time and time again with the previous Japanese tournaments that we watched. So we'll see if they decide to spend the Dawn at this point there. And so thinking about what they want to do, they do have that 10 drop in hand, but if they have that 10 drop in hand, then that means they can't swing the Zorojuro. So going in here, going to be swinging a 5, and it looks like it's going to be at that Cracker, I think. So maybe opting to use the Queen effect. I believe they have a Queen in hand. They've got the Newgate, so dropping that Newgate down after it's been countered out, and going to be swinging 8 at the Ohm. So taking out the Ohm right now and keeping that plus 2,000 power off the Newgate. The Enel player now is going to be going into their next turn. So going to need at least 8,000 power to be able to hit for life at the leader. Could go for Zorojiro as well, get that character out of the scene, but going to be kind of taking it a little bit slower at this point. So going to be moving up the Dawn. Yes, I don't think you've used the Dawn yet, so there we go, ramping the Dawn now at 9. So they're talking it out, discussing how much, just double checking. It's always a little difficult when one deck ramps and the other one doesn't if you're unsure, but just walk it back and thinking about what he wants to do now. Can't just swing with leader. I think that's what he was thinking about doing. I think he's probably thinking about playing the Yamato. The Yamato could be good for healing some life. And thinking about how they want to play it. If you do play the Yamato, you do keep up kind of the trade of the big bodies. And going to be starting off swinging the Holly at the Zorojiro. I do like that play, just, you know, kind of giving up a Holly. The Holly might get popped later by a different character, but at that point, if it does, then it might work out. So going to attach 5 Dawn to the Enel, swinging 10 at the Luffy. Now Luffy being at 8, it's going to have to use 3k worth of counter, which is at least 2 cards. Could be a 2k and a 1k to get out of that, and could be difficult. There's still 4 Dawn left, so may opt to put all 4 on like Cracker or Holly and just get rid of it, but it looks like he's thinking about potentially taking it on this one. I don't know. I see a queen in hand, a law, and it looks like he's just going to take it. So going to be getting a rad beam off of that. That will provide some good effects later in this one. The queen could be useful. They do have the, I can't remember exactly what the name of the Usopp is. It's like the same style as Zorojiro and Franosuke and that gang, that slew of gang. But the Enel player playing Ohm is a good body. You do want more swings going into the next turn, so I do like this play a little bit more than the than attaching and swinging on Cracker, because now you essentially force the Red Purple Luffy player to have another Newgate for that boost. So going to be starting out swinging 6 to a leader, and so with only a couple cards in hand, I think there's only like 4 cards in hand. They do have a 2k counter. They will counter out of that. Whether or not that was for the Holly or for leader, I'm not sure, but gets the job done. So probably going on a little bit more the defensive route, going to be doing the queen effect, laying that down, drawing 2 cards, and then resting 1. We saw them draw, I think, another queen and a rush Luffy. So got another 10-drop Luffy in hand, thinking about pitching that. And so going to be thinking they do have 5 Dawn left. They could have 6 with the leader ramp, so one thing that they're going to do is, as I mentioned, ramp. So now they've got 6, going to be laying down another 5 for queen, and that is what they're going to do. And they're going to put that back right there, going to draw 2 more cards, just going to get a ton of cards. And I'd imagine that they'd actually just leave the last Dawn open, swing 9 with Newgate somewhere, maybe actually not even doing that because Enel is at 1 life, and it looks like they're going to drop the rush Luffy. So interesting, in my opinion, that they dropped the rush Luffy, but going to be swinging 9 at the Holly and just taking that out. Another body that can't swing at the at Red Purple Luffy. And so we did see a Gum Gum Gatling in hand. That's a 0 cost 3000 power event counter. And so going to be swinging just a normal 6 at face. Going to be thinking about maybe pitching the Law, and that's what they do right there. Going to be swinging another 6 at leader, with their leader going to be pitching the Nami, going to be laying down 9 Dawn to heal up to 2 life. So all the blockers live, the Newgate lives, 10 Dawn once again, and we'll see exactly what's going on in here. So Red Purple Luffy got to be thinking at this point about what they want to do in this. We know they have Rad Beam, a Gum Gum Gatling in hand. I think they still have a 10-drop Gear 5 Luffy that they have. They also have Zoro Juro, it looks like, in their hands. So a couple different options, but we'll see how it goes. I wonder how far in the attack they'll actually want to go, because not a lot of other bodies are swinging. They might try to get rid of the ohm and just whittle away, but the Enel is continuing the pace of keeping the same amount of bodies up leading into their turn, putting a body down every single time. And so with 2 life now at this point and 0, the clock is ticking a little bit. So gonna be looking through the discard pile, just see like how many 2Ks have gone, what exactly they've done. Not a lot of cards actually have hit the discard pile for the Enel, I feel like, in this game. Just took a lot of life early, put down a lot of bodies really fast, and you know, have just mainly been knockouts and a little bit of counters. So going to be interesting how this plays out. You've got 10 Dawn available to you, and if you have any Dawn minus effects like another Queen, then you'll be able to have even more Dawn on top of that. I think maybe trying to think about, you know, extra attachments on the Luffy. If you do have any attachments that you put on any of the characters, whether that's Newgate or Luffy, then you're opting not to use the 10-drop Luffy. And if you also use the 10-drop Luffy, then that means that, you know, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get the Rad Beam potentially. But with the Dawn minusing effect, and then you ramp a little bit, and then also just the Luffy's effect in general, I think actually you would have a Rad Beam available to you, but it would also wipe out your entire board. So 10-drop Purple Luffy, although could be tempting right here, is usually, in my opinion, just a game ender kind of move. You kind of do it when you feel confident enough to be able to either clear the board or take away the rest of their life and win the game, because again, it does clear your board and you get rid of all your blockers. So going to be thinking about what they want to do. They've got the Usopp there. They have Diable Jambe, Rad Beam, Gear 5 10-drop Luffy, the Zoro Juro, and then I think the Gum Gum Gatling as well. So another interesting thing that we can talk about is with the Gum Gum Gatling, what do you discard, right? Because in order to use its plus 3k power in counter, you do have to discard another card from your hand. So looking at the hand, the Zoro Juro is an option potentially. The Usopp is also an option, but I don't think they're great options in my honest opinion to potentially discard on this. So we'll see exactly how it goes in here. Ruben really thinking it, in my opinion, it feels like a tough spot for the Red Purple Luffy players. So thinking about attaching to the Newgate, it looks like they are going to swing 11 at the Ohm with the Newgate. Or actually it's more than that, but it was enough. And so the Red Purple Luffy player going to be attaching 4 Dawn onto the Luffy, and oh my goodness, just getting the trigger off of that life, a Sanji blocker. And so with 4 Dawn left open, they're just going to pass off to the Enel player. Now the Enel player with another body available to swing if they feel like they can go and win the game. Definitely not a best case scenario, I would say, if you're the Red Purple Luffy player. So 10 Dawn available to them. We'll see how they distribute it. There are several counter type cards in the hand. So going to start off swinging 9, and I assume that this is at life, and going to be using that Rad Beam for the full plus 4,000 power, making it 10. So an excellent, easy 1-card counter. So going to be swinging 6 and immediately pitching the Zoro Juro there. I've got a couple different counter cards left. They've got the Usopp and the Gum Gum Gatling now at this point. So going to be swinging with the Cracker. That's going to be 6 as well, and utilizing the Usopp there. Now remember, they do have some blockers, so going to be using Katakuri here. Katakuri, a drop 2, I would it's actually an interesting spot because you don't want to necessarily put the queens in more life for the Red Purple Luffy. So going to be opting to put the Cracker there. The Cracker would be a free body once hit with the life to put back on the field. So you've also got the Sanji there. So now the Red Purple Luffy going to have to hit 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Actually 5 times. Wait, 1, 2, heal 1, 3, and then 4 times in there. And now the queens countered out. The first queen countered, the second queen hit, and then the new gate also hit. So looks like a opportunity to play the Gear 5 Luffy, just going for it at this point, resting all of the Dawn in there, putting it back in the Dawn deck, using the effect, swinging 7 at the Enel, and then going to be drawing for turn there, utilizing the block. They are going to go up to 4 Dawn, 5 with the Gear 5 Luffy, but 5 in total, but 4 active still at this point. And so the Gear 5 Luffy, you feel pretty good about it going, but you need a rush character at this point. So going to be swinging at the Yamato here. So taking out this Yamato and then swinging 7 at life. Going to be hitting, potentially playing down. They will have to discard a card from their hand in order to gain a life. Going to be pitching a Yamato, actually. So I don't think you like to see that if you're the Red Purple Luffy player, but I feel like that was a pretty good time to play the 10 drop Luffy. Only 3 swings you have to try to avoid. Going to be swinging 6 with Holly, going to be swinging 6 with Enel, going to be countering out of those. And remember, we do have the Gatling. The Gatling would get rid of the Jambe, and so the 200 million volt tomorrow just taking the win there, eclipsing with the Katakuri just enough. So that is going to be that one. Enel is going to win round 1 of the tournament, and we'll see exactly how it goes after that. Thank you so much for watching this one. This was a very nice game. I really like seeing the locals. This is a fun way to do some commentary content, and thank you so much to our players here for allowing me to record the game as well. I super appreciate it. And again, if you want singles, go check out Darkside Games, the link in the description below. Even if you don't want anything, just click on the link, get more clicks on the link, so then it makes us look better. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you again so much for watching, and yeah, have a good night.